Greetings, Blade Gang, this old sword here. Well, we have another Bastinelli fixed blade for you. These are all tactical tuned knives, fixed blades. Shown you a few before. I think I've shown you the red V2, which I've got over on the side here, and the Acheron La Sanction, which I reviewed fairly recently, a very small fixed blade. We're going to use those for some comparisons while I show you some of the finer features of this Bastinelli Silence Slim, just in from White Mountain Knives. And at this point he is out of additional copies of it. And yes, this is the serrated version. Go to Bastinelli's Instagram site page, and recently he did quite the treatise on the usefulness of serrated teeth, serrated edge on his knives. So I'm not going to get into all of the positives about it. I think the big thing is with serrations, and I used to buy all my folders with serrations and some fixed blades, is the usefulness of it. What I think people object to is the aesthetics. It breaks up the line of the blade. Maybe it doesn't look quite so pretty. I think these look downright nasty and aggressive, you know. I mean, and they work. So if you've got something slippery, plastic strapping, marine rope, even cardboard, what have you, it's going to cut. Plus you're going to save your main edge for your delicate work, was one of Bastian Cove's points in that little video that he did. So check that out. I believe it'll be up for a little while on his Instagram page. Thing you'll notice if you look very carefully is all of the jimping, and it's a very fine file-like jimping that he puts even out near the point. So if you are choking up and doing detail work, your fingers got a place to get some traction. So why do they call this the Silence Slim? Well, there's a full-size one with a wider, thicker handle and a longer blade. This blade comes in at, we're going to call it 4 3/4 inches. Keep slipping off the point. I'm going to back out a little bit. Sorry about that. Might be including some other things in the shot, but we'll get to those. So we've got a blade that we're going to call 4 3/4. We've got an overall length of 9.5 inches. And I'm sure these specs are out there, but we're going to go ahead and measure. It's always fun. 4mm blade stock. Handle thickness very even and very thin, under 1/2 inch. Let's see if it gets any thicker here. 0.48. And the weight of the knife alone is, drum roll, 4.325 ounces. Quite light. And what other measurements can we do? Well, let's show you the sheath. A very nicely made Kydex sheath of what I would say is just the right gauge of Kydex. It is perfectly formed and has a tech lock included. You can take that tech lock off and you can change the position of the tech lock. It's a tight fit right now, so if you comment on this video and say you don't like the knife because I can't get it out of the sheath, well, it's got to break in. This has probably been in and out of the sheath about 6 times right now, as this knife came in just a couple hours ago. So I should, in the long run, be able to thumb it off, and there I just did that. But it locks in quite tightly right on the guard. What I did find is you've got an intermediary position, so that's not going to drop out. I wouldn't trust it to stay in, if you're out hiking in the woods or whatnot, but that easily draws out of that position with the friction of the Kydex holding the blade alone without holding the guard. Push it in a little harder and no rattle, and it is locked in there tight. So that's it for the sheath. It's a good sheath. It's a sheath where I might put the heat gun to it and relieve this just a little bit so it's doesn't quite have such a death grip on the knife. But Kydex sheaths are known to break in over time. The more the blade goes in and out, the better off your smoothness of withdrawal from the sheath is, shall we say. There is a Bastion Cove's Bastinelli claw mark on the blade. And here's a very nice green micarta, linen micarta, I believe, handle with these milled in grip areas. The tang is larger than the handle. That's not an accident. But one thing that it does is it allows them to make the entire blade and tang and add the handles later. But it's very even, the amount of overlap, shall we say. Even got a little jimping there in the pommel on both sides. So should you hold it in this position or this position, it is equally comfortable because that's a very neutral grip. Almost like I'm reminded of an old-fashioned toothbrush handle. Maybe a few other types of tools as well. There's your branding, Fox Italy, and it is of N690CO. Okay, and the CO is a Fox specialty. It's their own special blend of N690, as I understand it. It's a good steel, keeps an edge, definitely stain resistant, more so than D2. Feels flat and very comfortable in the hand. I mean, you don't have to reposition your hand. You're not forced into finger grooves or anything like that. A few quick comparisons. So here's a knife I reviewed not that long ago. This is the Bastinelli Red V2. Also a combat tactical oriented knife with a shorter blade. And shorter yet and smaller yet is the Acheron La Sanction. A very handy little knife that works really well in the front pocket with the Kydex sheath on, of course. And there are larger Bastinelli fixed blade knives as well. You can check out a number of them on White Mountain, as well as Knife Center, as well as Atlantic Knife. They all have good collections of Bastinelli knives. Let's do another little comparison of just a commonly known, not common, Benchmade Griptilian. So there you got your size comparison. You definitely got a longer blade with the fixed blade, only about a 3.5, 3.6 inch blade on the Benchmade. And there you have a very cool tactical blade, the Bastinelli Silence Slim. Really neat blade. Bob DeMarco likes to call that kind of Talibong shape, Filipino style blade, and very well could be, because Bastion Cove is a practitioner. and does a lot of his designs in concert with Doug Marcaida, whom we all know as a consummate Filipino martial arts practitioner. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This Old Sword, signing out.